Hey, Planeswalkers, welcome to this week's Friday Night Meta, where we equip you with the best, latest, and greatest decks for you to improve your game, or for those that are seasoned players alike to be well-informed and well-prepared for everything going on here in Magic the Gathering Arena. So, thank you for tuning in. As always, we'll break down all the different formats. We'll cover best of one and best of three. That is down below for you in the timestamps. If you got a question or comment, do surely let me know. I love to hear from you, or feel free to come swing by the Discord server and say hi. Plenty of folks in there as well, and other great ways to stay connected down below there. And thank you for your support as always. Appreciate the subscribes and likes. Let's get moving here as we break down standard best of one for this week. So very, very early still here in the lovely Brothers War. Very, very quickly evolving and moving, though, in terms of what we got between the last two series episodes of Brothers War here. So here's what we got going on. We're starting to see a couple of different things shift around in the bottom end. We do have mono white soldiers and Azor soldiers still at the top. We're seeing mono black control starting to break in a little bit more. Mono black aggro still a thing. Selesnya enchantments falling a little bit. Grixis mid-range picking up. Everything that was below 50% has now fallen out of favor. We've seen that mono blue temple follow it as well. And obviously here on the right, we can be tracking what some of these played percentages are. We see that Grixis mid-range starting to pop up there a little bit more too. So as we see this trend line here moving, we can see what's happening and what's getting broken down as we move into the new season here for December. Again, why you see some of these things jumping around here right out of the gate. And we see that compression as things start off right away, essentially back like Mythic in the Platinum space there as well. So this is that first snapshot here for December as well. Also why you see some of these impacts. So if we go look at the competitive space, we'll look right at Platinum here. We do see a couple things moving around. Again, Selesnya enchantments falling below 50%. In terms of what's going on there. Mono red burn being one of the more favorable played decks here as well in terms of the higher end in the competitive scene. And then we can see that really popping up there heavily in terms of what's happening. So always like to check those things as well. So that is best of one. Let's go ahead and see if players are still looking at best of three. There's some in here. Again, lots of low stuff here with mono blue tempo and Azor's control, but we do have Mardu Angels doing very well. So if you caught that on the channel, I did do that one here, I believe this week. Absolutely check it out. Great deck, really fun. And then you can see the other ones here in tow as well. We've covered things like Grixis midrange and Esper midrange. Good flavors for those of you that want to play these decks, and by those in our Discord server, which is great. And then popularity today, you can see that Grixis midrange really heavily favored there. And here's what it's looking like as we progress. We do see that huge jump in that Mardu Angels in terms of popularity, and that win rate still doing very well. In the very competitive space, we do have Esper Legends, another deck that I've covered this week that was a lot of fun. And then you can see everything else in tow behind that. Grixis midrange still at 39, Mardu Angels up there at 14, and that Esper Legends still at 2.6. So a little bit of changes there as we get through that. All right, so that is standard. Let's move over to Alchemy. Are players taking on Alchemy? They are. Mono red goblins at 75%, Selesnya enchantments, mono red aggro, Rakdos sacrifice, mono black midrange. Heavily played here between these two decks. Very at the top of the game there, and still following and tracking pretty well to when things rolled out here. Now mono red goblins is definitely playing well at the beginning, probably because everything got smashed together. And again, it just tends to depend on that competitive nature when everything kind of gets thrown together. And then here at the more competitive scene, we see mono black midrange making it in there, Rakdos sacrifice, mono red aggro, Selesnya enchantments, and then again the percentage played of these decks as well. So there we have it for Alchemy, and we'll take a quick look and see if there's anything in best of three. We got some data here. We got Rakdos sacrifice, mono red goblins as well for best of three, and there you can see how many players are playing those. Again, Rakdos sacrifice coming down a little bit, and then obviously again same with win rates there for those decks, so it could mean there are other decks starting to get more in there, and we'll leave it at that. All right, So let's go over to Historic. What's happening in Historic? We have Rakdos Midrange at the top of the list here. So some changes for sure happening in this space, particularly in best of one. We got Is It Wizards, we got Is It Belcher, we got Selesnya Scroll Twin, Mono Green Elves, Source Control, Mono Red Aggro, and Dimmer Mill in there. Awesome, love it. And then really heavy here at the top end with Is It Wizards, Mono Green Elves, Is It Belcher, and Aggro, also Squirrel Twin. So things kind of really moving around here. You can see a lot of those decks in tow, and then additionally the win rates, things getting a little bit of compression there. Let's move up to Platinum. So in Platinum, we do have a different deck squeaking in. We got Boros Affinity here. So Boros Affinity, Dimmer Mill at the top of the list. A big change up with a lot of the other stuff here as well. Lots of the Is It colors still and very heavily played right now in the meta. And then we can see a lot more shifting here again in win rates and played. So that's a big one to pay attention to as that evolves. Let's see if there's anything going on in best of three. Best of three, we're still here. We've got Rakdos Goblins, Zoros Affinity, Is It Wizards, Rakdos Midrange, Mono Red Aggro, Zoros Control, Teamer Gates in there. Always a very fun one that people like to play. Not doing super great though. Rakdos Midrange at 27%, Zoros Control at almost 20%. So very heavily played. We do see a couple things moving around like we said there, along with that compression and win rates. And then we move over to more competitive space. We do see Goblins, Zoros Affinity, Rakdos Midrange, Mono Red Aggro, Wizards, Zoros Control, and Teamer Gates at 33%. So people still playing it. Obviously enough of that to make it in here, but really heavily played by Rakdos Midrange and Zoros Control there. All right, so that is the end of Historic for us there. Next, we have Explorer. Give me 1 second. My throat's going dry. There we go. That was good. All right, Mono Blue Spirits, Rakdos Sacrifice, Selesnya Angels, Abzan Greasefang Cylinder, Mono Red Aggro, Zoros Control, Rakdos Midrange, and Mono Red Burn. So that's what we got going on with the Explorer meta here. We can see all the different pieces here in terms of played. Kind of all over the place here. Lots of spiking, changing, moving around. Again, same with the reset. Similar, getting some compression in the rates, but still close to where they were before. Let's go ahead and get into Platinum. Platinum here, similar again. Mono Blue Spirits, Mono Red Aggro, Selesnya Angels, Mono Green Elves, Abzan Greasefang, Mono Red Burn in there, but sub 50%. Lots of the stuff really at the top four decks and up. And then again, lots of trading here out of the gate in terms of what's going on. All right. That is Explorer. Let's check out best of three. Best of three, we got Selesnya Angels in there. Mono Blue Spirits, Abzan Greasefang, Zoros Control, Rakdos Sacrifice, Rakdos Midrange, and 4-color Fire. Rakdos Midrange and Zoros Control making up the majority of that meta. Again, definitely a drop though in some of the change in play, but we do see everything spiking back up towards where it was before. A little bit of a shift here in the win rates. We got that Selesnya Angels outperforming Mono Blue Spirits out of the gate here. Again, could just be the compression against the closeness and changes from Mythic coming down. And then as we get into Platinum, here's what we got going on. Mono Blue Spirits retaking, Rakdos Sacrifice, Selesnya Angels, and everything else there as well. And again, still dominated at that top end like we saw. And again, pressure on those decks to move back to where they were previously. All right. So that is Explorer. Last, we have Historic Brawl. Let's see if anything's changed. The first sliver is still doing well. Benthic Druid in there. We got Emery back in there. Nice. Goshen, Tie of Life's Origin. Prosper, Tomebound, Urza, Lord Protector, Urza, Prince of Krog, Joda the Unifier. So very nice, interesting deck changes here in terms of what we're seeing and some of the stuff from the previous weeks. Again, big changes in the win rates as things are slowly moving around. We see that Urza, Prince of Krug really performing or starting to perform a little bit better, along with being picked up in terms of popularity there, along with a couple of these other decks. So that is Historic Brawl for you this week, Planeswalkers. All right, so pull it. Ooh, pull it all back around. We have now started out of the gate here for our December season. Some compactness back in Platinum into really a mythic level play. And with that said, a lot of people trying to get out of the gate and zoom into that mythic right away. So a lot of this information is readily pertinent to you in terms of navigation. If your play style, also a great place to look for decks and other things that we'll present to you here on the channel. Hope you enjoyed the take across all the different formats and best of 1 and best of 3. If you got questions or comments, do let me know, Planeswalkers. As always, I love to hear from you. I love to read from you, or in the comments, read, right? Additionally, come swing by the Discord server, as I like to say. Great way to stay connected down below. We do a lot of stuff, and additionally, appreciate your support. Thank you for the subs as well as the likes. All right, Planeswalkers, we'll see you again soon. We got a lot more stuff and content coming your way. Take care. Until next time, Mythras out.